KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper on your radio at 1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SactownSports.com and the Sactown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper.
Well, Kyle's in San Antonio or on his way there, but look at this. Jerry Reynolds, a great Jerry Reynolds, nice enough to join us. First text here, Jerry. We love Jerry. More Jerry. How about that?
Is that Mrs. Reynolds again?
Well, she would want you out of the house. You would want more on the radio and out of the house.
That would give her some pleasure, yeah.
We're with you till 4:30 today when we'll bring you Thursday Night Football, which I typically call Monday Night Football on a Thursday. So I'm already having a great day because I avoided that. The Bengals and the Ravens, a good game. But speaking of good games, Jerry, I thought of you during the show yesterday because we talked a lot with fans about the rivalry, the Kings Warriors as opposed to the Kings Lakers. And some people were saying, the Kings Lakers, it's not close to what it used to be, and the Warriors is the real rivalry. And I get that. But still, as we said during the crossover, there's nothing like beating the Lakers.
No, there just isn't. The joy it brings to, especially to some of the older Kings fans. I don't care if the record was 5-77, it'd still bring great joy.
Yeah, I know.
And just to see them gnashing of teeth of Laker fans, it's great. And maybe more importantly, the Kings were really good last night.
Yeah, that's 2 games in a row, right? Where they just kind of make you go, wow, where is that coming from?
Yeah, and obviously we know that De'Aaron is just having him back healthy and playing like he's played now for, all last year and even better this year. And, of course, Sabonis had a marvelous game. Herter's back on track. The whole thing, it just shows you the patience of Coach Mike Brown paying off again.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I want to let you know that Chris Watkins, and he's welcome to stay the whole day. I'm sure he won't, but he's doing some work here, putting up some jerseys. So it's nice to have Chris Watkins with us today.
It's always nice to have Chris with us. I don't care what anybody else says about him. I really like him.
You got a Monk jersey, put the Sabonis one in the Murray. So who came down, Chris? It was Rashawn Holmes and
2 Bagleys. 2 Bagleys. We had 2 Marvin.
All right, that's a good trade. Murray, Sabonis, and Monk for Rashawn and 2 Bagleys.
That is a great trade.
The Kings last night, I thought, Jerry, not only, of course, did they beat the Lakers, but they really kind of bullied them. I think that's fair to say.
Well, I think it is. Chris and I were talking before the show. Obviously, I try to get insight from him a little bit.
Right, yeah,
others,
sure.
And we're talking about, where Sabonis, I think, really set the tone early physically by really going at Anthony Davis, and looked like he didn't want much part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said the thing interesting with Sabonis, everybody knows he's strong, but I don't think, as Doc Rivers pointed out last night, they don't really understand the difference between strong and Sabonis strong.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, it's the old Mike Tyson thing, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth.
Yes. I did not want to see Van Gundy and Mark Jackson go, but I will say, Doc, he was pretty good last night, huh? And he was pointing out, look how much time has elapsed here from the shot clock. They got that shut up after 4 seconds there. That was keen observations, I thought.
Very keen. Yeah. No, I love Doc. I think he's easy to like, period. But as a broadcaster, I think he always thought he was terrific. And the fact that they just have him as opposed to 2 guys, I still think in basketball is the best way to go because, it's not like football where you got all kinds of time to talk.
Right.
And we've talked about it, and they all usually just have one color analyst on football.
Yeah.
And on basketball, you don't have any time, and a lot of times they'll have 2. But Doc's a real improvement, I think, to ESPN's broadcast.
Yeah, I think we just have to get used to this as Kings fans because after the game last night, there were so many pro-King angles, and Sabonis was great, Fox is great, Herter was great. But ESPN.com, they have the top headlines, and for the NBA, one of the top headlines on that game was Anthony Davis, AD says it wasn't the injury, he just played badly. That was their headline from that game, is why AD played badly. Nothing about why the Kings destroyed the Lakers. It was AD says it wasn't his hip, he just played badly. Well, maybe I think the Kings made him play badly last night.
I'm pretty sure they did, but you pointed out the thing that why one of the reasons you dislike the Lakers.
Yes.
The media, it's never about, Sacramento or Utah, or it's always
what went wrong.
What went wrong with the Lakers, or LeBron was a little tired, blah, blah, blah.
LeBron has triple-double in 17-point loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the type of headlines
and
you
of course, LeBron was great.
Mm-hmm.
But, there were 3 players on the Kings that were near great for sure.
Do you think the Kings are better for having gone through the stretch without De'Aaron Fox? Does that somehow make them they seem to be playing with a sense of relief that he's back and less with the weight upon their shoulders than they were for a while there?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I don't think so because they lost most of them. But but I think the one thing I would say probably that the team gained from it is like, boy, Fox is really valuable. We really, just a kind of a reminder that we can't really replace him.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes role players kind of need a little reminder that, this is why you're not playing as much as you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kevin Huerter's been, nothing short of spectacular when he was struggling so mightily. And then you can tell he got a little bit more arch on the shot. Everything is flowing, and give him credit, right? He played his way through that, whatever it was.
Yeah, and I say I give Coach Brown a lot of credit there. When he was playing poorly, he kept Kevin in his starting position, limited his minutes, but hung with him basically till he could get it going. But, you and I've talked about, it's like, hey, Kevin Huerter has been making shots for a lot of years. So why would you worry about a couple of preseason games and a couple of early games for a guy that really is in his prime? Now, he's going to have some games where he doesn't shoot the ball well again. I'm pretty convinced that they'll, but
probably,
but likely over the course.
Is that
of the
going to
season.
happen, Chris? Is there going to be a game where Huerter doesn't shoot the ball quite that well?
I guess so.
You guess so? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, see, well, yeah.
You guys are, great minds.
Yeah, Chris isn't completely sure, but I
Yeah. The Kings definitely seem to have a little bit more of an edge. And maybe it's just, when you play well and you have your way, it looks that way. But I know Mike Brown has been just drilling that into him. And that's been a point of emphasis since before camp started. And it looks like to me, defensively, they are playing better defense, are they not?
They really are. And I think, the perimeter defense is getting better. I think a lot of it starts at the guard line. Of course, De'Aaron really can impact the game there almost. And then maybe the most important is Keegan Murray, to have that 6'8" long body that can step out and play guards, not just wings and forwards. And so, really does kind of give him a really new look defensively that, we always wanted to see, but now we're actually seeing.
Did you get concerned after the 2 losses in Houston? And before you answer, I got to tell you, Kyle and I were out at the arena before the Portland game. And even the great G-Man was saying, he said, I'm a little concerned right now after those 2 losses. Were you starting to worry a little bit after the way I played in Houston?
A little bit. And, I wasn't exactly thrilled with the win over the Blazers, to be honest, because they're not any good.
Right.
And you're at home.
Yeah.
And
you need to
so
go to overtime. Yeah.
It was a game they had, not had to win, but it's very important to win. They did. But yeah, that was, to me, that was just sort of righting the ship a little bit. But so, yeah, but your point, the Houston stuff, especially that second game, that's about as low as I've been in years after a Kings loss.
By the way, Chris, we have people on the chat, or at least Jess is asking, what are they doing with the jerseys, the Bagley jerseys? People want the old jerseys.
Again, I wanted the Halliburton jersey.
No, they're not going to the dumpster, are they? We don't know what we're doing.
I'll take them. I've got them.
Yeah, there's probably staff here, Jess, that's going to have to fight over some of those. But that looks very nice. Sabonis, Fox, Murray, Monk. What a job. Chris Watkins is doing.
He's multi-talented, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Michael Day was too big for this.
Of course.
He would do it. He was like, no.
Can't be bothered. Yeah. Well, thank you. Bless you, Chris. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 with Jerry here for 2.5 hours today. Of course, every time Jerry's here, it's a wide open Ask Jerry, right? You're open to any questions about the Kings, past, present?
I may not have
future?
the answers, but I'm open to the questions.
Yeah. I think last time we had John, was it last time maybe?
Yeah.
When the guy called that helped resuscitate you after you blacked out that
Yeah.
time?
Saved my life, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
He said you were fine. He said
Yeah.
he checked your pulse and you were
Well,
fine.
like I say, I always remember, I think there's a barber there and a masseuse. And so, I was well protected.
Oh, yeah. It's the Drive Guys here on Sactown Sports with Kyle Draper getting ready for the Kings and the Wembanyama tomorrow night. And that's a tournament game, Jerry. I know I don't have to remind you of that.
Woo, I can't wait to see the court. I mean, I don't want to sound old school or anything, but good grief.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, regardless of age, a lot of people have had some issues with some of those courts. Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe they ought to have all the players playing real long shoes and maybe a red nose on and make it official.
You're still not down with the in-season tournament? You're not excited about it?
I'm not totally against it, but I just think they've kind of went overboard on some of that stuff. Good basketball's what you want to see with a little extra something added to it in the midseason. I'm all for that if they playing better and harder. It seems to add a little, but I don't need I don't need to have the NBA look like Oregon with all the different colors and everything.
Boise State football field.
Yeah.
I think somebody decided we have to make sure that the fans are aware it's a tournament game every second that they're watching the game. It's like, we get it. The trophy's on there.
Yeah.
We understand it.
I think we'd figured, I'm not the quickest guy in the world, but put the big trophy in the middle of the court.
Right.
Yeah.
That's enough there. But they figured, no, we got to make sure people know what's going on. So the Kings are, which franchise do you think it would mean the most to win this thing? We'll take a real brief timeout. I would love your thoughts on that. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you have any thoughts here, give us a call, shoot us a text on the chat here. Which franchise in the NBA do you think it would mean the most to win this in-season tournament? We're right back with Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle today. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The Kings took down Oklahoma City in their first in-season tournament game ever.
Launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Now it's on to Game 2 as the Kings visit rookie phenom Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Join us for Kings and Spurs Friday afternoon at 4:30 on Sactown Sports.
I was crossing the street when I met the love of my life. I chased after her. Nothing would stand in my way. Not the dog walker, nor the hot dog vendor. Finally reaching her, I asked, "What do you call that amazing smell?"
It's Gain Flings.
Gain Flings. My love had a name, but more importantly, it had a scent.
Fall in love with Gain Flings. Seriously good scent. Gain Flings with 50% more freshness ingredients versus leading bargain detergent.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we've represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. Online at CordellCordell.com.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Thanks for being with us. Jerry Reynolds is with us. Chris Watkins is hanging out, which we always enjoy because he's putting up some of the new jerseys, and so we have people on the chat that are wondering, hey, what happens to the jerseys? Well, one, I know Rashawn Holmes has already been claimed by Kyle. You say Kyle was after the Halliburton jersey, but he was after.
Oh, I called dibs on it, but if someone else wants it, they can have it.
We don't tolerate dib calling.
No, that's not a thing around here.
No.
So we'll let you know once we sort out what's going where.
But for today, I get to be Rashawn Holmes.
Very nice. And that's the autograph one, isn't it? Doesn't he have the autograph one?
Let's see, Simone, is there an autograph on the jersey?
I heard there were 2 autographs on there.
Yes, there are.
Rashawn
There's
Holmes
2
autographs. Jerry, let's talk to Dale. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Hey, Dale, you're on with Whitey and the great Jerry Reynolds. How are you today?
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking my call. Hey, I think I have an interesting perspective to, this whole thing with the Kings. Number one, I just want to say I'm a football fan, right? Except I live in Sacramento. So the rise of the Kings has been in my, in my target view. I've been loving to hear about them. I want to know one thing. Why were we not able to keep Tyrese Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, and go out and research for somebody, either Sabonis or someone like him? Because I think that Halliburton is a superior point guard. I think De'Aaron Fox is a great number 2.
Well, Dale, thank you for the call. I got you, and I'm glad you brought that up because we were actually just talking about that. Tyrese is playing so well that a lot of people in the national media are rehashing the trade. People are acting in some circles like the Kings got nothing for Halliburton, like they just gave him away or something, which is not the case.
Yeah, well, it's like with Sabonis. Okay, like you're talking about, get somebody like Sabonis. Well, there's not really anybody that's gettable like Sabonis.
Right.
I mean, in other words, Jokic and Embiid, they're taken.
Mm-hmm.
And Sabonis is probably third on that list currently. That's why he was all NBA, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then to the other point, yeah, Tyrese is great, but he and Fox were not fitting, and they weren't going to fit because they need the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Sabonis was great with Fox because he doesn't. I mean, he'll create the offense, but he doesn't have to have it to score. He'll give it to people to score.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the reality is that at the time, if the Kings had kept Halliburton and traded Fox at the time, they wouldn't have gotten very much back because Fox wasn't playing well. He had the big contract, so it wouldn't have been a very good deal for him.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. To his question, I think if they were at that time, probably would have considered trading Fox instead of Halliburton, but the contract was the hang up.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way it played out. But I would just say this, if they'd have kept Halliburton last year, the Kings would not have made the playoffs. So how you like that? That's just reality.
Right. And I got to say, I know when they made that trade, I was very skeptical for what that's worth because I love Halliburton. I couldn't believe he dropped as far as he did in the draft. But my point is, Jerry from the jump said, oh, yeah, Sabonis is a really good fit for the Kings.
Yeah, I'd been watching him for years. And, of course, like I've told you, I always remember Larry Bird telling me, he said, because I asked him about it, and I said, Halliburton's terrific. You're getting a great young player. And he said, yeah, I know, but it's easier to find guards than it is franchise-type big people. And he said, you got a franchise-type big person that you can't – it's almost impossible to draft them anymore.
Why was he the one – because they also had Turner. Why was Sabonis the one that, looking at it from Indiana's view, why was Sabonis the one Indiana dealt?
Because basically he's one they could deal. I mean, it's kind of the same kind of thing that Turner didn't have that kind of demand due to contract and actually production. And so that's who they could clearly get the most for. He had by far the most value as, he'd been a 2-time All-Star in Indiana. Turner certainly had never been close to that.
Yeah. It's interesting how that works out. One of those trades that helps everybody, and the Kings are in pretty good shape right now. It is interesting because Dale's not the only one that feels that right now. People complaining about, why didn't they keep Halliburton? Hello, did you watch him play last night? Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, it's like we all, I mean, that's the thing with Halliburton. None of us, he's probably my favorite player, but I also think the Kings is important for them to make the playoffs. Very important. When you go 16 years, another year or two not making them, the franchise might have been in serious trouble, to be honest. It was really getting negative. And I don't think had they kept the same group together, in my opinion, they wouldn't have. I don't think they'd have come close.
The great thing for the Kings with Fox and Sabonis is that you compare it to past years when the Kings have had stars or superstar type players. A lot of times those guys, as you know better than I do, they haven't really wanted to be here. They made the best of it, but they kind of had, googly eyes for other places. And it appears those two guys, they want to be here right now.
Yeah, it's really pretty evident. And, I just think I don't know how this is going to play out for this team, but there's no team in the league as unselfish as this team. And then you look at Fox, how good he is. Very few teams, when you got a major star like at some point, somebody wants to maybe think their role should be bigger, like we saw in Golden State, and we've seen just about everywhere at some point. But here, Sabonis and everybody else knows, okay, it's Fox time. I'll set screens. I'll make passes. I'll make it easier for him to take over a game.
Yeah.
And, that's rare, very rare.
That's why I think Malik Monk is one of the absolute key people in terms of the Kings' chemistry and culture, because he's a guy that could reasonably, right, say, I deserve more touches, more points. And maybe after this year, when he's a free agent, he'll do something about it, but he accepts his role. And we talked about it. Chris and I talked about it on Media Day. He said, the team wins, we all win. And for him to accept that makes it hard for other guys to say they want a bigger role.
Oh, it sure does. I mean, and he's the one guy, as you pointed out, right? I mean, he could say, I deserve to start. Well, talent-wise, he does.
Yeah.
He does. But coach prefers him coming off the bench, feel like he provides something that they couldn't get otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think Coach Brown's right.
Right.
It's proven to be right. It works for Monk. It works for the team. So hey, let's just leave it alone.
Yes.
That's what I say.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. David joins us on Sactown Sports. David, you're on with Whitey and Kings icon Jerry Reynolds. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good. What's up?
Awesome. So big fan of the show. Love Jerry. Jerry, you're a living legend in Sac, so we're very lucky to have you on the radio and everything.
Thank you. Living is a key word there.
He always got the perfect one-liner ready. I don't know how you do it. So while we're on the topic of Tyrese Halliburton, I've wondered this, and as great as things are, like I don't want to trade De'Aaron, obviously, like things are fantastic right now. But I've always wondered your guys' opinion on this. What do you think about if Indiana were to call and hypothetically offer Tyrese for De'Aaron straight up? What would you guys say?
Thank you, David. I'll let you handle that one, Jerry.
If Indiana would call and want to trade Tyrese for De'Aaron straight up,
yeah,
I wouldn't do it now. I think it's a better fit for the Kings the way it is, and
right.
And quite honestly, I think that Tyrese is a better fit in Indiana than De'Aaron would be.
Mm-hmm.
But in big part because of Sabonis. There again, he's kind of the sound like a Reggie Jackson, the straw that stirs the drink.
Sure.
But I think there's a lot of truth to that. And so, sometimes, as we've found out over the years, just accumulating players doesn't necessarily always make you better.
Right.
The fit and chemistry, you got to have stars, but everything's got to fit, and you can have too many stars.
You could look at this team, I think, Jer, and say, well, they could use an upgrade here or there, perhaps, going forward if they really want to be as good as they can be. But point guard, De'Aaron Fox, that's not one of the spots. So why would you want to swap that out? Because it's working. And I think Tyrese Halliburton's a fabulous player, but would he fit as well with Sabonis? Maybe, but I wouldn't want to find out. I mean, that's not one of the issues with this team right now.
Yeah, it's a risk. Why take? I think it's a fair question because you're talking about, one of the very best guards in the West, one of the very best guards in the East now.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese a little younger, not a lot, but here the bottom line is, and I think Indiana is going to be a lot better this year. There's a nice start, but the reality is they haven't won over 25 games last 2 years,
mm-hmm.
and the Kings won 48 last year. So the risk would all be on the Kings' part.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. JR joining us. JR, you're on with the other JR, Jerry Reynolds and Whitey. What's up?
I love how Jerry said casually, I was talking with Larry Bird. Like he's...
Yeah.
What? Oh, that guy. I remember that guy. He was a pretty good ball player, wasn't he, Jerry?
He had his moments. I always tell him, he doesn't have every record from Springs Valley High School and French Lick. He might think he does, but he doesn't.
There you go. Put him in his place because he gets a little cocky sometimes.
JR,
right?
Jerry, one time Jerry was telling us a story not too long ago about how he says, well, I was mowing my lawn and Larry came over and then I told Larry I got to go and I got to mow my mom's lawn. And Larry Bird says, well, can I go help out? And he says, yeah. So Larry Bird's like helping Jerry mow his mom's lawn.
Way to paint the white fence there. I forgot the name of that
got him to paint it. It's Tom Sawyer. That's a Tom Sawyer move, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a little difference there. When I went over to Larry's, it's either if you want a cold beer, you got to help me work here a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's, it wasn't a choice. It was never a choice.
You're a great negotiator, Jerry. Always getting a little extra out of it. Hey, I know you guys are doing the Halliburton, the Fox. I feel like it's water on the bridge. I would like to talk about how good they looked last night. And I know the Yankees are old coming out with back-to-back. But, boy, did we move the ball well. And having Herter shooting the way he's doing now, God, it changes everything. I would love to see more of that movement. And here's, basic question. Do you think Mr. Mitchell is going to find some more time on the court? He seems to be limited based on their success these last couple games. So, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'll take your answer off the air. Love you guys.
Call anytime. Yeah, that's a good question. The Davion question is a good question right now.
Yeah, it is. And, I think as long as they're playing as well as they're playing, they'll kind of stay the same route. And I think we've talked in the past. I'm not sure that Davion is as good for this team right now as I used to think. I kind of think that what made Davion a great college player, near great, was his ability to guard people in the half court and to run a team in the half court. Well, the Kings are not a half court team. And so I think, and he's pointed out himself, it's a little harder to play defense and stuff when it's up and down the court, find your guy and all that. And, is he, I guess I would just say it this way. Davion Mitchell's a really good player, and he's going to have a good long career, but he might be a guy that would benefit from being traded. Mm-hmm. I always say I've always compared him a little bit to Kyle Lowry, and people forget that he was drafted by Memphis, traded to Houston, really didn't catch it until the third trade to Toronto, where he became an all-star. And I think sometimes, there's players that need to get in the right fit. And I kind of think that maybe Davion isn't in the right fit.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Got to take a quick time out. Jerry Reynolds is here. You got a question for us? Give us a call, shoot us a text, hit us up on the chat. Also got to find out from Jerry if he feels the NBA got it right with the 5-game suspension for Draymond Green. So we got a lot to get to. Just get warmed up here. Drive Guys with Jerry in for Kyle today on Sactown Sports.
Harrison Barnes plays here.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Yep, that trailer hitch and folding bed cover from TruckSmart makes road trips a breeze.
Right? I'm so much more organized on the job site since TruckSmart installed my truck rack and toolbox.
And they had it all in stock, so I just waited as they installed everything.
Take a look at this sweet Rhino truck lining. They sprayed it on.
Yeah, you win. That is sweet.
Truck Smart, truck and SUV accessories for on the road and the job site. Stop by one of our 2 locations in Rockland or Auburn. TruckSmart.com. Your truck's gonna love them.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
It's Carmichael Day with a Fire Wings announcement. The Floor and Road location now serves pizza, and oh my goodness, it's so good. Don't forget the Wings Day Wednesday lineup, 88-cent wings every Wednesday. You got 21 delicious flavors to choose from and the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. Save time and order online. Go to firewings.com or download the app. Find a location near you, order online, and earn rewards. Fire Wings, just wing it.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
This holiday season, create a fun and joyful memory for you and your loved ones. Come light the world and help those in need through the Giving Machine in the Roseville Galleria Mall, November 16th through December 10th, and in Modesto at Valley Fair Mall, December 11th through January 2nd. Choose from local charities serving your community or from global charities worldwide. Come feel the Christmas spirit at the Giving Machine. Learn more at givingmachine.greatersacramentomodesto.org.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said, I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around this store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Knee, hip, foot, leg, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
At Jim Boy's Tacos, you get a ho-ho-ho lot of flavor for under $10. Our classic #2 combo meal spreads cheer with a farm-dusted ground beef taco, scratch-made bean and cheese burrito, and a soft drink. So jingle on down to Jim Boy's or order online at participating locations. Woo-hoo-hoo!
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Jerry Reynolds is with us today, in for Kyle Draper. Drapes will be back with us tomorrow from San Antonio. We also have Chris Watkins hanging out in studio, which is great. Chris isn't really able to chat with us much, but he's putting up some new Kings jerseys and doing a crackerjack of a job.
He is. You know, I would say he's kind of multi-talented.
Yeah. Fox, Sabonis, Keegan. You moved the Keegan, right? Did you move the Keegan? Yeah.
The spacing, I don't know. Just you get all three different jerseys here.
Well, I hate to say it on this day, and bless you for wearing the A's cap, but taking down an A's thing.
It hurt.
Keegan is, that's...
Felt like we needed to play some music or, have a nice little moment for taking down the A's jersey.
Yeah.
Sad stuff. I mean,
I'm still not giving up hope on that.
Yeah.
I know.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't look good. And, I'm very proud looking back at how much we covered this as it was going on, but it doesn't make it any easier. I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway from today is even though we've kind of seen this coming from a mile away, it doesn't soften the blow. I'm not even an A's fan. And I just
you're a fan in Northern California.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And I've got tons of family and friends who grew up as A's fans. And, as being a Kings fan as well, like we went through this and we were, I would say, I don't even know if they made it this far into the Kings never got as far as getting the owners to vote to actually move them. So it's kind of uncharted territory a little bit for if people still want to believe in bringing this thing back. I'm not saying it can't happen, but we're kind of deeper than anyone's ever been before.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, because when you look at him, Oakland used to have the Raiders and the A's and the
just in that
Warriors
parking lot,
and the Warriors, which should have been the Oakland Warriors, because that's what they put. It's just
you don't like the Golden State name, do you?
It's the dumbest thing in the history.
Drives me crazy. It does.
Every time.
It's like,
it's like.
It's one thing if there's one or two teams in town or in the entire state.
The Clippers, the Lakers, and the Kings, they're all in the same state, aren't they? Along with
yes, last time I checked. Yeah.
So they should all be the Golden State Lakers.
It should be the Golden State division,
Kings.
as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know,
so
it's
anyway.
ridiculous. Never understood it. Yeah.
I mean, and they did it just because they didn't want to admit they're playing in Oakland.
That's right. That's
if
it.
you didn't
That's
want
the
to
worst
admit
part
you're
about
playing in Oakland, don't
Don't
go.
play in Oakland. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, I need to kind of vent every once in a while.
Oh,
on
I
that
feel you.
because it just ticks me off.
Some interesting questions here on the chat. We'll get to the phones in just a minute. Manny Too Legit, and he's asking both of us. I think he's just being nice, Jerry. Would love your opinion on this. If you were to compare the Fox and Domas duo to other great duos in the past, who would it be and why? Any come to mind? And you've seen just about all of them.
Yeah. Well,
and that's not an easy one, I know.
No, I mean in the current game, I mean it's you look at Jamal Murray and Jokic, and Tyrese Maxey and Embiid. That's probably you'd put ahead of them, but that's it.
Yeah.
And now in the past, you'd like say Weber and Bibby, maybe from Kings teams in the past.
The center position was just so different way back when. It's hard to compare, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, just in the modern era, they're about as good as anybody. I mean, they're right there. I mean, they're not like say Jokic. Fox may be better than Murray, and that's Murray's pretty close when he's healthy. But you'd have to give Fox the edge here, and certainly Jokic is better than everybody. So there's that.
Yeah. Are you with Jerry on that one?
Yeah, if we're going with we're specifically point guard center combos, or are we just doing any combos?
Let's see. Great duos.
Great duo. I mean, I think it's been a shaky start, but just from a talent perspective, Dame and Giannis is definitely pretty intriguing. Let's see here. If we're just talking duos, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry were pretty decent at playing off each other as well. But
what about not really? Well, your guy Tim Duncan and Tony Parker.
It's
pretty
awfully good. Yeah, that kind of the all-time caliber.
And there are some similarities there, right? I'm not seeing there.
Because Tony could score. I mean, he was a scorer in addition to playmaker. And of course, Duncan was just great.
Yeah, his all-time favorite player. Did you know that?
Yeah,
great
fundamental.
Yeah, no, it's a big fundamental boy. Yeah. He had them, and that was always a jolt to me. I remember doing the first time we did a game with Duncan as a rookie, and Robinson was there, who's a great player. One of the top 70 of all time. And I remember telling Grant after the game, I said, this guy is better than Robinson.
Really?
And that's when you kind of knew, it's like, holy cow, look, what are we in for here? Around the league.
Yeah. And was he always like a quieter guy? Like, I mean, I think temperament wise, we talk about Keegan a lot with guys like Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard. Like, was Tim always kind of a quieter, shyer guy?
Yeah. I talked to his coach in college, and he's one of those guys, he wasn't recruited.
Right. Yeah. Going to Wake Forest. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he was a late developer, much like Elijah Wan or a lot of great players. But anyway, I remember the Spanish kid they'd draft or recruited, they said it was going to be the star. And then within about a week, they knew, no, it's going to be the other way. I always remember this scouting trip I was on. We see the top players, and I think Rasheed Wallace was at North Carolina, so I went to see him play. I remember calling Jeff Petrie. I said, "This guy's going to be number one." And then next night, I go over to see Wake Forest play. I called him back. I said, "Jeff, strike that."
Yeah, it's tough to take your scout seriously after back-to-back nights. I'm telling you, this guy is the greatest guy ever. And the next day, I'm telling you, I know that guy.
Jeff said, he said, "Well, I better not see you anywhere else."
Well, I mean, you weren't wrong. I mean, you were 2 for 2 on both of them.
Yeah, they're both, top. Yeah. Obviously, Duncan was tops,
right?
And Rasheed could have been.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I think Rasheed in some ways was maybe a little ahead of his time. He was great.
Yeah.
But what do you like today?
He would have been better in today's game with his shooting
Yeah.
ability. Big guys. Yeah, absolutely. And he'd have got better to three if he shot him more. I mean, that's what always, as fans, we don't realize. It's like, well, one of the reason these guys shoot so well threes, they shoot them all the time.
Yeah.
Guys in
never
30 years ago,
right?
You just didn't do it.
There are so many shots you see in today's NBA game where 20 years ago, a guy took that shot, he'd be benched. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Transition threes in general. Yeah, you take a
sit
single
down.
transition three. You say, what are
Never
you
shoot a
doing?
transition three. And I mean, the 3-point shot was even like in the ABA when it was to kind of catch up or desperation kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like
Things
into
like that.
yeah, right buzzer beater. I might as well shoot the three.
Yeah.
Yeah. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Mike joins us, Sactown Sports. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got a question for you guys because you know the Kings pretty well, past and present. A lot of us fans, well, lately, a lot of people are saying that Sasha is kind of comparable to Peja Stojakovic. Now, I know Peja, 3-point contest, all-star. I just want to know what you two thought about the comparison. And that's it. That's all I got.
All right, thanks. I'll Jerry's opinion has a lot more weight here in this. I'll just say the similarities are they're both from overseas, and they both can shoot a little bit. Other than that, I mean, I don't even think we can make that comparison right now.
Yeah, I didn't understand the
Sasha.
Oh,
compared to
Sasha. and
Peja. Yeah.
Well, I mean, definitely, I think Page is the better prospect. You know, when he came over, he was 19, and he was the best player in Europe. You know, at 19, and where Sasha really is 27 and became the best player or considered best player at 26 or 7. So therein lies a huge difference.
Nothing against Sasha, but he ain't no Peja, right?
No, I don't believe he is, and I'd love to be wrong. By the way, I'd love to see him develop in that, but I don't see 3-time All-Star there. He's I think he's going to get better and better. Don't get me wrong. I think he's more minutes he gets and more comfortable on the court. His defense, he's shown me that he's a pretty tough-minded young guy. I mean, he's got no softness in him, and I think he'll get more shots. You know, you're seeing Sabonis and guys looking for him a little more.
Yeah.
But
he's a good player. And I know you were excited about him over the summer, but how many threes did you see Peja make in a row one time?
42
threes.
Yeah. Just in practice. Yeah. Yeah. It was out. I started watching just as he started shooting them off of, you know, with the little flip, the little machine that kicks the ball back to you. And just kept making them. And always remember Hito and Vlade came in about near the end, and I walked out there or something, I think. And Paige just said, yeah, or that he thought he made 40 some. I don't know if he really remembered. And he don't you didn't do that. You didn't do it. I said, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And how many more is that than you saw Ben McLemore make in a row?
Well, let's see. I thought Ben make 2 in a row once.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, maybe 3. I don't know.
Well, it's not easy to do.
No.
I can do that.
Well, yeah, I've always that was always the thing that struck me with Ben, and you know, he's one of those young guys that might have turned into a good player differently, you know, but he was too much pressure. He was put in the starting lineup for no good reason.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't do him any good. But
so it's like he was held to a standard that wasn't fair to him at that time. You got to become this. And
you know, yeah. A little, you know, Tyreek Evans, probably another case. I mean, Tyreek was really, really good early, but you know, he's not Oscar Robertson or LeBron James. And, you know, we're trying to, you know, I think trying to create that kind of image for him. And that was ridiculous.
Do you think maybe that's one of the things that has worked against Wiggins being the first pick in the draft, and just everyone's always compared him to that level? I mean, maybe he's just not that guy.
Oh, I do. I think it's always tough to be the number one guy, you know, and I think Banchero will probably go through it as good as he is, you know, I mean, because LeBron's LeBron, or I mean, and these guys, and Wembanyama too. I mean, he's a long way from being LeBron right today. I'm not saying he won't get there, but you know, it's more like you know, the Kobe's and the Kevin Garnett's. It took them probably 3 years. Even Durant was very ineffective as a rookie.
Whereas you playing high school ball in Indiana, just got it.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, if they'd have had more than 8 teams, I have no doubt that, you know, they'd have built a franchise around me.
More with Jerry Reynolds coming up. More of your calls, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Haven't gotten yet to how Jerry feels about that Draymond Green suspension. I think that's going to be fun. We have that more coming up here. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year,
all-stars and all NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam Team, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
It is 2:45, which means it's time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Carmichael Dave here telling you something you already know. Your time is important, and that's why at American Energy Heating and Air, they make shopping for a furnace easy with their new online quoting tool. Just go to AmericanEnergyAir.com, get an instant quote today. That'll help you determine what system you need to get and provide the best pricing options as well from the comforts of your home. Here's the thing. Nobody's going to come to your home. Nobody will come to your home. That's convenience. Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want, give them a call and talk through what your needs are. Call 916-520-9990 today. 916-520-9990 or go to AmericanEnergyAir.com. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
As we come together to celebrate the end of this long, long year, Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BC. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com. Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Gobble, gobble, folks. It's that time of year again when the leaves fall, and so do the prices at Elk Grove Kia. We're bringing you Thanksgiving early with deals that'll make your wallet say thanks. This fall, our lot is stuffed with the latest Kia models, and we've carved out incredible savings. Get your hands on a brand new Kia with Elk Grove Kia's award-winning reliability and service you can trust, unlike your Auntie's dodgy broccoli casserole. Don't wait until the turkey's on the table. Come to Elk Grove Kia and feast on the best deals this fall. And don't worry if you have challenged credit. Our finance team has over 100 years of experience. They may or may not have even helped a pilgrim or two get qualified. So hurry on down to Elk Grove Kia, where the prices are falling faster than Uncle Bob falls asleep in front of the football game at Thanksgiving. It's the Thanksgiving sale going on now at Elk Grove Kia, located in the Elk Grove Auto Mall. Or check us out online at elkgrovekia.com. Elk Grove Kia, where the only thing bigger than our savings is our gratitude for our amazing customers.
Elk Grove Kia.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The 49ers Report, brought to you by EB Stone. EB Stone, for the life of your garden. Everything went right for the red and gold in Week 10, bouncing back against Jacksonville 34-3. The win snaps a 3-game lose streak for San Francisco, putting them at 6-3 on the season. Brock Purdy got back on track, throwing for 296 yards and 3 touchdowns Sunday. The 49ers defense also got back to their standards, combining for 5 sacks and 4 turnovers against Jacksonville. The 49ers returned to Levi's Stadium in Week 11 to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Celebrating over a century as a family-owned business, E.B. Stone has gathered in valuable insights into nurturing plant growth. Venture into indoor planting with E.B. Stone's Edna's Best indoor and outdoor potting soil. Watch your little plants flourish into ideal indoor companions for the whole family to relish during the holidays. E.B. Stone's indoor and outdoor potting soil is a meticulously crafted blend of essential ingredients. Your plants will thrive both indoors and outdoors. Trust E.B. Stone for the entire lifespan of your garden. Explore more gardening tips, products, and find nearby locations at ebstone.org. Wishing you a season filled with joy and flourishing greenery.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Great to have you with us. Great to have Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle Draper today. Drape's on his way to San Antonio. He'll be with us tomorrow, getting us ready for a big game. Right, Jerry? The Kings against the Spurs, a tournament game against Victor Wembanyama. Big stuff tomorrow. Sorry. Yeah.
There we go.
There we are.
I mean, this is too complicated for me. You know, turn the microphone on, off.
I still do
everything
that
else.
all the time, so yeah, don't feel bad.
You know,
I've done it a while.
Yeah, well, anyway, I got it on now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the Spurs actually been very disappointing, you know, to me. I thought when they beat the Suns, I thought, well, they might be on to something.
Because they beat them 2 in a row in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, and they've been very inefficient. And Victor, for all the great game he had against the Suns, he really has been fairly inefficient since. But I know he's, you know, the talent is there. It's just a matter of getting stronger and used to the league, and he will.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 if you have a question for Jerry or just you have a comment about last night's huge win over the Lakers. You can also shoot us a text at that number. On the chat here, McToads has a question. First he says, hi, Jerry. Jerry, we love Jerry. You're awesome. Then he says, I have a question. Then he says, oh, I forgot. Then he comes back with a question. Thank you, McToads. What happened to Davion Mitchell? We've already talked about Davion Mitchell today, but it's something that a lot of people are wondering about.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, it's kind of a coaching decision. Davion, you know, had one pretty good game early on with Fox out, but overall, as the team struggled, he struggled. And I think Coach Brown just said, I'll try something else, went with Ellis. And, you know, team had a little bit of success, certainly looked better. And so why mess with that? And then, of course, Fox comes back. Well, that just pushes Davion back down another spot. And so, as we've talked about, I mean, I don't doubt Davion could still carve out a nice role before the season's over. But I think the one thing that was kind of apparent to a lot of us anyway was that he had a tough time really pushing the ball and playing at the pace that Coach Brown wants to play at.
I think that's it, because he even said in the B, Jason Anderson had a story with him, and this was right after the second loss to Houston. And Davion was quoted as saying, I can find the exact quote, but it was, it's hard to defend and play at the pace that they want us to play at. And then he said, well, you know, you have to do it and we'll be better when we do it. But he admitted that it was hard for him. And as we're looking for answers to, how come he's not playing? I think it comes down to that.
I do too. I mean, I think that's the biggest part of it. And you know, it's like anything. Fortunately, this team has a lot of answers, or a lot of NBA players on the roster, whether it's Ellis or Duarte or Jones. I mean, they're guys that can, of course, Monk, more guys that can play. Now, you know, in years past, a thin team, they'd have stuck with him longer because they had to, and probably tried to make it work for him a little more. But I get it. You know, the coach's job is to anything he can do to make the team better, and he took some chances, and it's made him better for now.
What do you think of the way Keon Ellis has performed? A guy that nothing was expected of him. He started a little. I mean, he's very disruptive on defense.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, so it's like it's not an all lost thing without Davion's a great defender, and Ellis probably isn't quite as good, but he's close, and he's and can guard bigger guys easier.
And he's long,
and
he's quick,
little longer.
laterally, very quick.
Yeah, so you know, I think, you know, the way he played in Summer League, it sure looked like then that he was kind of ready to have a chance of being an NBA player. Now, you know, what's going to be interesting to me is that with Fox back, there's just not that many minutes. And so he'll have to learn really how to be productive in 3 or 4 minute stretches. And that's really hard.
Chris, you like your handiwork here? I see you purveying the studio.
Looks great if I do say so
I think
myself.
it does.
I'm trying to find a place where I can put. We have 2 hats here, and I'm trying to figure out if there's any more nails in the walls that I can.
49er hat
and a Monarchs hat. That's a signed Monarchs hat, I believe, by the championship winning team. So we have to find some spot for that.
You know, it's interesting. I heard him as he's doing a great job. Said, I don't want to toot my own horn. Now he's tooting it.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we know how that team got put together or anything like that? I can't remember. Can't quite.
Shucks.
He made a few calls.
Shucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to take all the credit, but I'll toot my own horn.
Yeah, you deserve it. You got your jersey up there for a reason.
You excited about the WNBA going to be in the Bay Area?
Not in the Bay Area, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Although, I mean, I think it should have been there. They should have had a team there years ago.
Yeah.
I think it'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll do well. And really, I think having a team in the Bay Area would really help having a team back in Sacramento have a natural rivalry because we really never had that. And of course, during the Monarchs time, I mean, the Monarchs actually had one of the best draws of anybody in the league. And at that time, I think still drew better than all but a couple teams still in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So
I miss it. I miss it tremendously.
Yeah. He has don't you have like the league pass for the WNBA?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
$20. Great deal.
Really?
Fantastic. Yeah. I highly recommend. I mean, even if you're just going to watch Aces Liberty games 4 times a year, it's only $20.
I didn't realize it
very
was
worth
affordable.
it. Very worth it.
Yeah.
Very
the
worth
women's
it.
game has really improved dramatically.
It's so good.
I was listening to Wilbon and Kornheiser. I mean, I'm a big fan
Love
of
those
the
guys.
Pardon the Interruption. And they were talking about how the women's college game really is more interesting than the men's game because you don't know who the men are anymore.
Right. Totally. I mean,
Then, with the women's game, Paige Becker and
Caitlin Clark. Yeah, absolutely.
And Angel Reese. And, they got, because they have to be there like the men used to. They
Right.
have to be there 3-4 years.
Yeah. So with the men with the one and done, it's like, I don't know.
No clue.
Yeah. And then some going into the G League or going overseas, even if they don't go to college at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of the Bay Area, Jer, I've been meaning to ask you about this. The big story yesterday in the NBA, Draymond Green suspended by the NBA 5 games for his role in the brawl or whatever you want to call it between the almost call it the Jazz, Timberwolves and the Warriors. What'd you think of what he did? What'd you think of the suspension that was handed down?
Well, what he did was, Draymondish. That's what I'd say. But, the suspension, I thought was about right. I mean, if you just based on suspensions of the past of other players, you would say it's excessive, but then he's not other players. I mean, he has a history of it.
Right.
Like a Dylan Brooks wouldn't be judged the same way or John Morant, his various problems.
Yeah.
Once you're
Dylan Brooks and Draymond, they're repeat offenders, recidivists, I think is the term. But then they complain like, oh, it's not fair. I get a harsher penalty because you keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, in theory, I mean, I don't know if our justice system works that way anymore, but a repeat offender, eventually they get stiffer penalties.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thought. So I'm with I'm not a huge fan of Commissioner Silver, as you well know, but
you're aiming for his job.
But I am a big fan of Joe Dumars. So so I think they got it right.
All right, we'll take a quick time out. When we come back, more on last night. And let's face it always feels good to beat the Lakers. It's the Drive Guys. Jerry's in today for Kyle Draper on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At Elk Grove Honda, we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we'd buy from ourselves. At Elk Grove Honda, in addition to our lower prices, we include many benefits that a private seller just can't match. Our Honda-trained technicians only certify our Hondas if they pass a thorough 182-point inspection, and our certified pre-owned Hondas are under 5 years old, so you're getting the newest Hondas in prime condition. See our exceptional selection of lower-priced certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave letting you know Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room and primetime football location is back. Cap Casino giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game, offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region and conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. Check it out. Capital Casino. And as always, please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
It's no secret to golf enthusiasts that Timber Creek and Sierra Pines in Roseville are one of the region's most unique and scenic places to enjoy a great game of golf. 27 holes, boundless options. Elevate your game on our newly renovated driving range, putting green, and chipping area. Whether you're aiming for fun, lower scores, or all-around growth, we've got you covered. Experience golfing dreams in Roseville and book your tee time at timbercreekgc.com. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, your ultimate golf haven.
Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, small business owner. Are you ready to have the best year ever in 2024? When's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs. But Pi Insurance could save you up to 30% in just 3 minutes. Go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for your business. No hassles or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could make this your best year ever. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Give your family a real treat. Bring out all the flavors of the holidays with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill is turning me into a pro. Napoleon Grills has features other grills can't match. They're built different, built better, built to last, complete with a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. All made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Just go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills. Now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories for the holidays.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Kyle Draper, it takes two guys to replace him.
Yeah.
So Drapes is in San Antonio. So Jerry Reynolds filling in, and then Chris Watkins was hanging some jerseys here. And I asked him, hey, buddy, if you want to hang out, talk hoops with us. And here he is, Chris Watkins.
Yeah.
You and Jerry, you and Jerry got a thing, don't you? You guys are mutual admiration.
We're buds. You know,
This is really more about Jerry being here than anything
I
else,
get
to be
it.
honest
I
with
get
you.
it.
But, you know.
By the way, somebody on the chat, McToads, talking about you. I appreciate Chris doing post game every single game. Much respect.
Yes, appreciate you tuning in. It's some nights are funner than others. You know, those Houston games were really testing my love of the job. I was considering having to go to our bosses after those games and say, hey, I understand we're trying to grow our digital, but I think I might need an extra $1 or $2 if I'm going to have to watch those games and then talk about them. But yeah, it's been really fun, and it's a great opportunity to kind of, just get my thoughts out. It's more of a therapeutic thing sometimes, where it's just let me thought dump for 20 minutes here, and then it's nice to get some interaction.
Well, last night was fun then.
It was great. It was great. Yeah, last night was awesome. Jerry said it, and it's there's nothing better than beating the Lakers. Just the feeling that you get, especially a wire-to-wire victory. The only thing better might have been just a game winner that would have really, stabbed them in the heart. But that's a nice close second. I'll take a blowout.
Yeah, and it did get a little dicey there down the stretch.
Yeah,
it did. I mean, the Lakers they got LeBron James, and he's not gonna go away, and he's gonna create some things, and he did. And fortunately, the Kings could fight him off. I mean, I think they were, just a better team, and that's having a better team having a good game. And LeBron didn't really get a lot of help.
I just kept telling myself, literally, I was saying to myself, you take care of the ball and you make your free throws and you win. And the lead was dwindling. I just kept saying, you take care of the ball and you make your free throws. It's basketball law. If you do that, you will win, which is generally true. They did miss a few free throws here and there, but ultimately they won that thing going away.
Yeah, and that is a good way to put it, because you take care of the ball, you make your free throws, you got a lead, you likely win. That's also true. They didn't take good care of the ball. Fortunately, the Lakers took less care of the ball.
Yeah.
So sometimes that works too. It's like, we're sloppy, but boy, look at those guys.
Yeah, and on the other end, it's like, the Lakers, I was looking at their numbers before the game. They lead the league right now in free throw discrepancy, where they're taking significantly more free throws than what they're giving up. On a night like last night, it kind of feels like it works in the Kings' favor, because, they're shooting like 71% or something absurdly terrible at the free throw line. And so, you could argue maybe the Kings go to the free throw line 10 more times in that fourth quarter. Maybe that actually helps the Lakers with the way they've been shooting free throws recently.
Yeah, Jerry and Chris, that's one of the things about the Kings this year that's driven me a little batty, and I know it's going to be an up and down year, but they're for a while there, they were like second in the league in fewest turnovers, and they were taking care of the ball. And now, they've had some, I think, they have 15 last night. They had 16 team turnovers for 27 points. They had 20 against Portland. I mean, and I know some of that's without Fox, but this is even without Fox. Even with Fox in the lineup, Domas gets a little loosey-goosey with the basketball.
He does, and I think, too, that he had a couple turnovers last night that I thought, well, that's cutters quit cutting. A passer doesn't get to bring the ball back once it's
right. You got to run your route.
Yeah, and I thought Doc Rivers was great. I really enjoyed Doc on the broadcast on ESPN, but he pointed that out, and of course, I thought it great that he pointed out how Kings, after made baskets, are scoring with 4 seconds off the clock.
That's real pace right there.
That is.
A lot of time pace is talked about off of missed baskets, but the fact that, what are you supposed to do? If you that's where it's like the mental side of the game comes into play, where, you spend 20 seconds to get a good shot, you get the layup, and then 4 seconds later you look and they just answered back. It's like, well, it doesn't come that easy to us.
Yeah, because pretty soon it's like, they're getting theirs, and whoop, we didn't get ours.
But
they're getting theirs, and whoop, we didn't get ours.
Yeah, and I know, talking to you over the years, that's a basketball truism. Well, it's hard to fast break when you're taking the ball out of the bottom of the net. Well, it's hard, but it's not impossible, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that one of those things that blew my mind is because I've said for years, well, if you can't stop, you're not going to be able to run if you're getting scored on.
Yeah.
Well, I found out that you can. And so, the old thing, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, this old dog learned one new trick, that's for sure.
But teams just didn't used to try that before.
No, that's a big thing. And as I think Chris pointed out too, now you're seeing teams, it's part of the strategy, push it up, shoot threes. You don't have to push it up. If you're going to push it up to try to get into a half court set, it wouldn't necessarily be the same thing.
Right. And how much of that is too, just like, people, it's not as fundamental as it used to be. Like, people just don't rush back on defense. A lot of time LeBron will drive and he'll get hit, and it's like, ref, where's the call? And then by the time he's done complaining, turns around, it's 4-on-5 the other way.
Yeah. Now what you see is a strung out court. Used to be, you'd see all 10 guys kind of in an area. But almost never do you see that.
Right.
There'd be 3 or 6 guys here and 4 guys down there. And so it just keeps going. It's like a drill, how you do high school drills and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always spread out. So it's kind of, I love the game. I liked watching it. Like I say, I think but it's unique. It's unique to this time frame, where the value of the 3 is a key.
I think from the Kings standpoint, or the standpoint of a Kings fan, one of the things that's most encouraging about that game last night, maybe most encouraging, is that from the jump, the Kings just took it to the Lakers. They set the tone. They dominated them. And you could see the Lakers were on their heels from the early moments of that game. Like the Kings were pushing them around and having their way.
Yeah, no, I talked about it a lot today. I think the fact that LeBron had as good of a first half as he did, to me, that was a sign of exactly what you're talking about. Because a guy like LeBron, 38 years old, year 21, last thing he wants to do on the second night of a back-to-back is in the first half have to give his team 20 points and set everything up the way he was. To me, that was the sign that LeBron, who's always had a great sense of his team and, you know, where his team is at any given moment in time. I think he looked around yesterday as that first quarter was going on and said, I think this is on me. Like, I think I have to do something or else this is going to be 40-15 at the end of this quarter.
Well, I think that's exactly, and he did.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
I mean, and
that's what makes him him.
You know, I thought Doc really pointed out a good thing too last time. I don't want to get into a Doc love fest here.
No, too late.
Too late. Okay, but he pointed out, you know, that LeBron. You know, he said, "Look, watch LeBron. He is really breathing hard." You know, they had a close up is on a free throw. You know, he was clearly, you know, trying to get his breath, you know, and of course it goes back to what Chris was saying. He had to do so much work early,
right?
And he got him back sort of in place, and then, but he was probably used up.
Gassed. I mean, yeah.
I think the Kings are really, you can see they're really embracing everything Mike Brown is preaching. And speaking of, you know, running after a made basket, they're learning to be if they don't get discouraged when they give up a basket. So they're becoming a much better defensive team just because, you know, we saw it before earlier in the year when they weren't making shots, kind of the shoulders would droop. And I've noticed last couple of games, you know, Cleveland scored a lot of points on them, and the Lakers, you know, their offensive numbers were pretty good, but the Kings, they had their defensive moments, but when they were scored upon, it didn't bother them at all. It's like, all right, we'll just go down and score on you. It's kind of a relentlessness that they're playing with now.
It really is. And then of course they've got the one advantage over all teams, I think, in the league. They've got a center who runs hard.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Creates numbers in the break himself. Even Jokic doesn't really do that to that level.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great point. I haven't even really thought about that, but yeah, I mean, I think, excuse me. I think just with how well they're playing right now, it just feels like everything is I don't want to, it feels as simple to say it's all De'Aaron coming back really just brings the puzzle back together. But, you know, yeah, Sabonis definitely is a huge reason why they're playing as well as they are right now.
Oh, we'll take a quick time out. When we come out, we'll see. Come back, I should say. Pardon me. We'll see how Chris feels about this. Jerry and I have a little bit of a disagreement on Sabonis, where he is and where he's going. Will you break the tie for us? And we go to Watkins attrition. All right,
Absolutely.
we will do that next. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Jerry and Chris and Whitey today with Kyle in San Antonio. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The Kings took down Oklahoma City in their first in-season tournament game ever.
Launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Now it's on to Game 2 as the Kings visit rookie phenom Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Join us for Kings and Spurs Friday afternoon at 4:30 on Sactown Sports.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. What's going on at Hoblet this month, Chad?
We're celebrating the Black Friday sales event all month long, which means you're saving big with up to $15,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 1500 crew cabs with no payments for 90 days. That means you get your new truck with no payments until 2024. And we have new Rams starting under $30,000.
That's probably why you're the #1 Ram truck dealer in California and #3 in the nation.
Well, that, and because we also have huge savings on heavy duties too, with up to $15,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 2500 heavy duty crew cabs. That means you can get the brand new heavy duty truck you need starting at $45,995 and no payments until next year.
Well, there you go. Get your new truck now at the Hoblet Ram Truck Center or search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$15,000 total net savings on $1,500 after $11,000 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discount. 5 of this net savings. Under $30,000 VIN number 527379. $15,000 total net savings on $2,500 after $10,000 factory rebates and $5,000 dealer discount. 5 of this net savings. $45,995 VIN 502146. Rebates include $1,000 case construction bonus cash. Must have purchased eligible case equipment from qualifying dealer. No payments for 90 days through Chrysler Capital.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Buddy Gleason, Jerry Reynolds, Chris Watkins. What is Chris Watkins doing here?
I'm trying to figure that out
Did
myself.
he oversleep or something? Missed his shift?
I did oversleep today, actually.
Oh, did you?
Funny enough, yeah, this was the first time where I've almost overslept an on-air shift. But, yeah, got up just in time to get here with some reasonable time.
Well, you were probably just so excited.
So
It was hard to sleep last night.
It was
after that.
impossible. Yeah, I don't know how anyone's supposed to sleep when you got the beam in the sky. It's brighter than ever, and you got the Lakers losing. And it's just I don't know how anyone slept.
Ain't life wonderful?
It's great.
Life is great,
So
and
good.
of course, I have to tell you, at 3:14, this is usually when I take my nap, afternoon nap.
That's why I'm here right now.
I watch,
Just
I always watch Pardon Interruption, and I take a nap.
That's why you love that
We got
show
a
so much.
sofa down the hall. We can set that up.
Pardon my nap. Yeah. Duncan joins us. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Hello, Duncan. How are you?
Hey, you guys, I'm well, thanks. I just wanted to continue, since I have an opportunity, the Doc Rivers Love Fest.
Yes.
So I used to have season tickets right behind the opponent's bench in the old Arco Arena, and Doc would, like, he knew I was a mouthy guy. He would come over and engage me, and he would say stuff like, when I was playing, they wouldn't let us, they would let us keep playing on that.
Mm-hmm.
He always had a lot of great one-liners. So that was fun. But I loved how, if you go back and look at the opening tip-off from that game, Fox basically stole the tip and ran between four guys and laid that ball in and then went right into his little skip. And it was like it was on right then and there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you, Duncan. Doc's a smart guy, right?
Oh,
you got a loudmouth. You kind of befriend him, and you kind of neutralize the guy, and you're ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Doc's been there, done that. I always remember first time I ever met him, he was playing at Marquette. And I was a college division coach. They were practicing in my gym in Kansas City to play, I think, University of Missouri on a neutral site. And, he's just one of the guys, he came over to thank me, for which I, no reason to. I was schools getting paid.
Yeah.
but honestly, that's, maybe 1 out of 1,000 players over the years would bother to do that. I would say, that guy, besides being a really good player, I sure hope he does well. Of course, the rest is history.
Yeah, and he was people forget now because he's been coaching so long. He was a really good player.
A really good player. And in fact, the last time I got thrown out of a game, I was on the floor, and I remember Doc went up and said, "Coach, you can't do that. They're going to throw you out." And
You're playing the Hawks?
Well, I looked around. It's about half court, and then too late, Dan. I said.
That's when he was with Atlanta.
Yeah, with the Hawks. Yeah, they were really good, and we weren't, but we were ahead. I think we were ahead of them at the time, but I could see it coming.
The wheels coming off.
I mean, it's like Dominique. No.
That team used to in pregame warmups, they used to put on an absolute show because they had not Doc so much, but Kevin Willis, and they had Dominique, and they had Spud Webb and Kevin Willis. These guys it would be like a dunk contest in their pregame. It was incredible. I remember I went to a game in Oakland and I saw it, and I called my brother and I said, "Hey, when they're playing the Kings, you got to make sure you don't miss their pregame." It was amazing. And years later on this station, we talked to Mike Fratello, who was an analyst then, and he had been their coach. And I asked him about that, and he said, "Yeah, I had to tell him, guys, you are expending way too much energy in the pregame. You got to save something for the game." But it was amazing.
Well, especially Spud, when he was, he could still dunk pretty good with us at the end, near the end of his career. He's a better player time he got to us, but I mean, just a physical marvel. I mean, 5'6", maybe 135 pounds. I mean, the thing that always amazed me the most about Spud was, he kept getting a little better, but he never got hurt.
Yeah.
People always say, but he was so quick and athletic, guys couldn't get to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a great receiver.
Yeah.
And just knows how to stay out of contact.
Mm-hmm.
But
he had just massive thighs, didn't he? Because
I don't think anything was massive on him. No, he's a 135-pound guy.
Boy.
But I mean, it's like the way he could jump. I used to kid him. I said, I don't think gravity takes effect on you. You know, he's so light or something.
Did you trade for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We traded Travis Mays for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Travis Mays was a Mata guy, huh?
Let's see. Well, I drafted him, but I figured out after about a year that, boy, it wasn't going to work.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Uh-huh.
And so and he was out of the league in another year.
Uh-huh.
So we got Spud. So he and Mitch were really good together.
Right.
And so, it worked out good. But the Spud, I always remember my wife picked him up at the airport to come to camp. We out just right after we traded, and he wouldn't speak. You know, he was pissed. He didn't want to be traded. You know, of course, my wife, she, you know, after I dropped him off, and you know, was trying to make small talk, and you know, and so she said, "Can he talk?" I said, "Yeah, he can. He doesn't want to." And then, of course, I always got a kick about a year later. So I was telling him about that. And of course, I was telling him, you know, for a year or so, you wouldn't talk. Now you can't shut up. And now every time I see you, you want to jabberjaw me.
Yeah. So here's a mild dispute Jerry and I have on Sabonis. And obviously, if you're smart, you'll side with him. Of course. But I was watching the game last night. I know we talked about this on the crossover. Watched the game last night and just marveling at the way Sabonis is playing. And last year, I think you and I even talked about this when we were doing the show together. I was thinking, you know, Domas, the year he had last year, that's probably as good as he's going to get. So far this year, like last night, a good example, I'm feeling like, wow, maybe there's more there. And Jerry just feels like, you know, you take into account good games, bad games. He's going to be where he always is because he's just that consistent.
Yeah, I think I fall more so on Jerry's side, not just because that's the smart side to be on, but I actually do agree with it. I think that you know, it's tough to imagine where he gets better without almost not drastically changing his game, but he would have to like add a legitimate 3-point shot, I think, for his game to look anything near to kind of go to a next level. I think he's very much a Jokic light, and that's not disrespectful because Nikola Jokic is, I think, right now the best player in the world. But I think just the clear difference between the two is, Sabonis is a fantastic passer, the best non-Jokic big man passer in the NBA. But Jokic, even still, is just he's at a generational level of vision that Sabonis just isn't going to get. You're either born with that kind of passing ability or you're not.
He would know.
But I don't think he's going to be able to exceed his playmaking ability. And then his scoring is just limited. It just is, not in a bad way, but just he's a very post-centric, old school style guy. He's not going to, you know, even we saw in the playoff series, he's even hesitant to take, you know, a little Chris Webber elbow jumper, kind of gives him a little bit of trepidation.
Even this season, many times you can see he's looked at it. Pass.
And you know, that's him trying to adjust his game to today's league, but I think, you know, you can't change a dog's spot or whatever it is. You can't change his spots. He is who he is. And, you know, he's going to try and adapt to make his game a little bit better for today's game. But I think he, very much like Jerry said, he's just always going to get those numbers. And I think at this point in his career, it's just going to be tough to be much better than he is.
I think that's saying, isn't it a leopard can't change his spots?
I think
isn't
that's
that what it is.
Well, leopard has spots, so I think it would be.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, it was some mixture of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. With,
it would be weird if they could change their spots. That would be confusing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. You got my point. Yeah. I think that he's incredibly talented player, but you know, there's levels to everybody's game, and I just not a knock on him. I just don't think he can get to that kind of level.
When you get to be 27, 28, you know, that's what I said about Vezenkov.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's a guy's kind of who he is. I mean, you can, in his case, you know, he'll learn the league and there's going to be improvements.
Right.
But to say, you know, kind of compare him to Peja, who is 19. No, it's not the same.
It's not happening.
It's just not happening. But I don't think, I'd like to be wrong, but I mean, same way with Domas. I mean, he is playing at a high level. He has for a couple of years.
High. Yes. And I'm not disputing that. Yeah.
People always say, well, boy, he really got good when he got. No, he was really good. And that's why he made the All-Star team.
Yeah.
Right. And he got his 19 or 20 points on 12 shots. He's getting his 19 points on 12 shots.
Yeah.
You know, so he is who he is, and that's really good.
You know, to the point you just made, that's what stands out about last night is he took 19 shots.
That's what I was going to say as well.
Just recognizing where the weak spot of the Laker defense was, at least for last night.
Yeah, and to me, that was going back to the worst game I've ever seen him play, the second game against Houston, where he had 4 shots. I mean, that's no.
It just can't happen.
Can't happen.
That's just one of those where you look at the box.
No, he
score
doesn't
if you're
have
a
to
coach
shoot
and you're
19, but he shouldn't shoot 4.
Right, exactly.
Of course, I've always said, he really ought to get to 14 or 15. Take a couple of those 15-footers. He made one last night. He did make a 3 as well. But I mean, I think those a couple of 50 little elbow shots.
Yeah, just a couple more.
Just a couple more.
And because what it can open up, I think, is the bigger thing.
Yeah,
if
you don't
can
care
pull
if he
your
makes them necessarily.
No, it's just having the threat of having your guy step out, and then what that does for, the counter of it and all that stuff. Yeah, I would love to see Sabonis take more shots, but even then, I don't necessarily think that means he's going to change his impact at all. I think it might just mean that he scores a little bit more and maybe drops an assist or 2.
Yeah. What do you even want him to?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I think there's a case where we know who the best scorer is, and and then he's got guys to get shots for, and I think that's part of the real strength of him as well as the team.
I will also throw in 19 shot attempts, but normally he has about 7 free throws. Last night he had 2, so that also helps take away some shot attempts.
Great point by Chris Watkins. When we come back, Reynolds remembers. Speaking of rebounders. Going to ask Jerry about the greatest rebounder in Sacramento Kings history. And we'll get back to your calls as well. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We got Chris Watkins hanging out with us today. Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle to Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Debo 10, Debo 5, Debo, touchdown! San Francisco!
That's the 49ers team we all know and love.
Bosa's got another sack.
San Francisco got back on track and looks to keep things rolling Sunday at home versus Tampa Bay.
Birding under center, a 5-step drop. Now going to pump and throw down the sideline. Kittle! He's got it and he's gone!
It's the 49ers and Buccaneers Sunday at 1 on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, looking at a mix of conditions for today. We'll see clouds, some peaks of sun, and a chance for an isolated shower, especially this evening. Expect daytime highs in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every lower-priced certified pre-owned Honda is one we'd buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road. Get in zone. So what if I need a new one? No problem. We have the right battery for your car, starting at only $89.99. Get in zone. And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination. Get in zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Most golf professionals will tell you that when chipping or pitching, you should get the ball on the green and let it roll to the hole. That works in most cases, but there are times when a direct line to the green might not be there. Maybe there's a tree or branch you're sure to hit in your arc line. Maybe your shot is uphill to a hole cut close to your ball. This is where the flop shot normally works, but with the reward comes a risk. With the wrong lie, you could swing right under the ball and not advance it. There's also a chance you hit the ball with the wedge's leading edge, making your partners jump out of the way of your ball, which is now flying about 2 feet off the ground. Here's a technique for you to practice. If you're a right-hander, weaken your left hand grip by turning your hand under the club so your palm faces skyward. Now the club face remains open through the hitting zone, giving you a shot that flies higher and lands shorter. Give it a try on the range and experiment with different hand positions under the club. I think you'll be able to take it to the course. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
At Jim Boy's Tacos, you get a ho-ho-ho lot of flavor for under $10. Our classic #2 combo meal spreads cheer with a parm-dusted ground beef taco, scratch-made bean and cheese burrito, and a soft drink. So jingle on down to Jim Boy's or order online at participating locations. Woo-hoo-hoo!
It is 3:31, which means it's time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. Reminder, all guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
No Kyle Draper today. We have special guests Chris Watkins. We appreciate Chris hanging out. And, of course, the one and only Jerry Reynolds. Quick question for you, Jerry, on the YouTube chat. How many times, Jerry, did you get thrown out of games from CK916?
I remember twice. I mean, I think that's all it was. I got kicked out in Dallas and then at home against Atlanta, against the Mavericks. They told me to go away.
Yeah.
And
so the magic one where you said, just give him the whistle, you didn't get thrown out. You got teed up, but you didn't get thrown out?
Yeah, I didn't get thrown out. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I was threatened some, but, you know, I was, me and Joey Crawford got into it once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Of course, Joey was easy to get into it with. But he said something, and I said maybe the F word to him.
Friend.
And then,
hello, friend.
Yeah. Joey, friend you. And he said, Jerry, friend you back. And anyway, the league heard about it, and they were going to discipline him, you know, because even though but I told him, I said, no, it's my fault. Yeah. And, you know, I said, you shouldn't do it. You know, I started it, which I did. And Joey, I always remember Joey, a few games later, down the road, he's doing a game. He came up and said, man, I really appreciate that.
Really?
Yeah. He said, you know, that's really nice of you to do it. And I always remember saying, you know, jokingly, friend you, Joey.
Hoping for a couple good calls that night, you know.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, never forget. I scratched your back, Joey. Now it's your time to return the favor, you know.
Well, I've told Whitey, I always liked about every game. Before the game started, I'd go out to referees and just ask them, I said, would you guys consider cheating the other team? And they always said, she always said no. I mean, it didn't mean they probably might have considered cheating us.
Like they always say, it doesn't hurt to ask.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Exactly.
But your buddy Alan Stiles, I'm just asking.
I'm just asking a question. Look, David, Stern, Mr. Stern, I'm just asking a question. That's it.
That's
Okay.
it.
I didn't say how much dollar, how many. I was just asking if you'd be open to
I hope Jerry
consideration.
doesn't mind me telling this story, but he's told me before that he actually had kind of a meeting with Commissioner Stern one time, and Jerry said Commissioner Stern was terrifying.
I was at a league meeting, and I, was a young person. I had some questions, and I raised my hand and asked the questions, and anyway, Sacramento, what do you? I kind of melted down in my seat, and that ended my question for a while. But yeah, he ran a tight ship. Let's put it that way. A couple of the older guys at that time, than me, and they said, "I could have told you, Jerry. Wait.
Save your questions for after class,
or wait a few more years. You haven't been here long enough.
Yeah. I live and learn. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Let's talk to Kenny. Let's see what Kenny has for us here. Kenny, you're on with Drive Guys. What's up today?
Travis Mays, one of the 4 freshmen, right, Jerry?
Yeah, he was, and picked 14th, and he had a couple of really good rookie games. I think he had 30-some against, but the problem was twofold, really. He's 6'2" and not really a point guard.
Right. And he had to.
Yeah, a tiny 2 guard at that time. And I could see it wasn't going to work. And then the other part was he really thought he was a great point guard. And so that created its own set of issues, as one might perceive.
So a friend of mine used to live with neighbors Spud and Wayman down in a lakeside community down in the Pocket area. And he said there was nothing funnier that he'd seen in his life than the two of them out in a rowboat on the lake, with Wayman's end about below the water line and Spud sitting about 3 feet up in the air at the other end of the boat.
I'll tell you, I'd love to see that. You're right, though. I mean, what 2 great guys. I mean,
yeah, and they were best. They were thick as thieves, those two, from what I understand. They just loved each other.
Yeah.
Wanted to get Jerry's take on Robin Finker, that guy that was talking back to Doc Rivers. I'm sure you got some stories about old Robin back in the day.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah. He was almost a professional heckler.
Yeah, professional heckler. Yeah, I in my book I told a story. It's really true story. I thought it was kind of funny, but he's on my butt pretty good, which he's on everybody's.
Yeah,
but he never used profanity. He just was.
I think he was based in DC.
DC, yeah. And back in the old arena, he'd sat just right behind the home or the visiting bench. And, he'd going through the game and he kept saying, Reynolds, Jerry Reynolds. I said, what? He said, Jerry, I've been trying to figure it out for years. How did you get an assistant coach uglier than you are? and of course, in those days, I had one guy named Herman Cole. And I turned and said, well, I don't know, but I did. And then, players, they all but broke up.
Yeah.
They started laughing. But Herman, he got pissed. So that was kind of the one I remember. I mean, but he was witty without being vulgar. You know.
I think that guy might have been an attorney or something.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was an attorney.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, what happened that he quit. But that was his joy, I guess, creating grief. And he just
now today with social media, a guy doing that would be a huge star.
Yeah.
Everyone would know who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably in like a bad way, because he would probably post it on social media. Hey, I really got LeBron to react to me today, and here's my video. And so he probably, because I know there's some baseball guy who's notorious for catching all these fly balls and popular home run balls and things like that, and people can't stand him. They're like this guy. Even though back in the day, or that's a thing to do at the ballpark, but it feels like you try and make it your thing, you try and make it your shtick in today's age, and people are like, not so warm on it.
Here's a question for you, Jerry. We were just talking about Sabonis, great rebounder, led the NBA in rebounding all time. Reynolds remembers here, asking Reynolds to remember Sacramento Kings history. Who was the best rebounder in your professional opinion?
In Sacramento Kings history, I actually think it's Sabonis.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and the numbers probably prove that. I mean, I think there's guys that were more talented, and might rebound per minute better. But he led the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only player that I know of in Kings history, Sacramento, that has led the league in rebounding.
Now, my guess would have been Otis Thorpe. That's what I would have guessed you'd say.
Yeah. I mean, Otis was a good rebounder, but I think even at that time, probably LaSalle Thompson might have been even better.
Mm-hmm.
And LaSalle was very good. I mean, I think Otis was a really solid defensive rebounder. Didn't really do well on the offensive board. I don't know all the reasons.
In his Kings tenure, Otis Thorpe's season high was 10.2 rebounds a game.
So 10.2 is less than 12.3.
Is that confirmed? Is that true?
Yes. And of course, Jerry knows this, but that's also with, less possessions in back in the day.
Right.
Nowadays, the amount of shots that are put up, more shots equals more rebounds. Back in the day, 10 rebounds. There's less shots going around.
I'll say this: you're right, but in the '80s, and so. But then again, you go back into the '60s.
Right.
It's just absolutely. There are more rebounds than there are today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those old Nuggets teams and things like that.
That's how. I mean, not to taking him Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell, but
right.
That's how
those guys finished at 25 rebounds a game.
It's had as many as 55 in a game.
Yeah.
So that's just,
in that 1988 season, Otis Thorpe was 9th in the league in rebounds per game.
Wow.
Yeah, last night the Lakers had 43 and the Kings had 45, and there was a Wilt that had 55. One of those two had.
I think he had 55 in one game.
In a game,
average 25 in the season,
and
that year he averaged 50 points. And we've talked about this. I mean, there's and a lot of the modern day players said that you have a list of records for humans. And and Wilt has
his
own.
And
all
record.
The rest, Wilt averaged 37 as a rookie, and led the league in assist near the end of his career with a 69 win Lakers.
And I know some people will say things like, "Oh, he was playing against plumbers," but he was playing. There were so few teams you had to play against Bill Russell. All the time, right?
Well, and I would say too, it's a little bit like, it was a different time, but 8 or 10 teams.
Yeah.
So there were guys, who were great players that, like Willis Reed told me, he said, I was the 9th pick in the draft. That second, I was in the second round. First pick in the second round.
Right.
First ballot Hall of Famer. So you got to kind of there. The guys that made rosters. I mean, to make a 10-man roster, which is about as far as they went then. Occasionally 12, but mostly just 10 because of cost. I mean, there are a lot of All-Americans who
just
never
never
going to make it. They won spots.
We'll come back and we'll ask Jerry about this. Sabonis, C-Webb, who's better? Who is a better player? Who's contributed more to the Kings? Where are we with that whole C-Webb, Sabonis debate? It's Chris Watkins, Jerry Reynolds, Whitey Gleason. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Debo 10, Debo 5, Debo, touchdown! San Francisco!
That's the 49ers team we all know and love.
Bosa's got another sack.
San Francisco got back on track and looks to keep things rolling Sunday at home versus Tampa Bay.
Birdie under center, a 5-step drop. Now going to pump and throw down the sideline. Kittle! He's got it and he's gone!
It's the 49ers and Buccaneers Sunday at 1 on Sactown Sports.
Two rivals, one goal. It's our region's biggest college football game.
Saturday at noon, UC Davis and Sacramento State battle in the 69th Annual Causeway Classic.
So much at stake as potential playoff spots are on the line as the Hornets and Aggies square off to close out the 2023 college football season. Pre-game coverage begins at 11:30 with kickoff at noon from Aggie Stadium and right here on Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. We'll be in and out of clouds throughout the night tonight with perhaps a passing shower. Tomorrow will also be a day like today with a mixture of sun and clouds and a chance of a shower in the afternoon. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia. Trade up to the newest technology with a low payment. Shop Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
I'm a Vietnam veteran.
I always knew that I was going to join the military.
My grandfather pulled out his own military uniform and actually let me put it on.
The greatest thing you could ever do in your life is to change and impact the world around you.
Anybody that has ever served in the military has that sense of serving others.
I wanted to keep the people of the United States safe.
Being a veteran comes with a responsibility.
My role is being a protector.
We're born a proud country. We need to keep it that way. Boot Barn.
As we come together to celebrate the end of this long year, Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com. Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
It's a new era in entertainment. Experience legendary performers like never before. All new and all incredible. This is the venue. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Kings over the Lakers last night. I know you know this. I just like saying it, 125-110. Chris Watkins is hanging out with us today. Jerry Reynolds with Kyle Draper in San Antonio getting ready for tomorrow's game. How many wins do you guys see in the rest of this road trip for the Kings?
There's 5 left, right?
Yeah, there's 5 left.
You win the first one, that's great. You got a back-to-back in there. You got Minnesota in there.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Who else? And Dallas.
Yeah.
I think
know
I
you guys talked about this
yesterday. I predicted 5-1. That was a little ambitious. That was, if things are going to go great. I'll stick to it though. Why not?
Wow.
I'll say they'll go 5-1 the rest of the trip. And it feels like one of those New Orleans games is just a schedule loss. They're playing the first one. That's going to be the second night of a back-to-back flying in from Dallas. It just feels like New Orleans traditionally also is just a tough place to play for, I feel like, a lot of different reasons.
I don't know. Maybe
Mainly
I need
the
to
food.
raise my standards, but to me, just a 6-game trip. I know they won last night. 3-3 to me on this trip is like, that ain't bad.
Oh, anytime you go 500
Yeah.
road trip, but yeah, I think they could go 4-2. I mean, I think Minnesota's going to be a tough game for them, and then just the fact you're playing the Pelicans twice, and then I would really be concerned if McCollum gets back. I don't know what his injury status is because I think he means, and they've had several guys out. Murphy's still out. So
Zion's always in or out. You never know. You never know what you're going to get with that.
Ingram just came back. So, but I mean, I think McCollum is the real key there. They don't have anybody that's going to move the basketball except him.
Oh, that's really unfortunate what's going on with Zion, whatever it is, because we know they traded AD, and then so they got to rebuild everything. They did a good job getting some young assets there. Then you end up with Zion. It's like, okay, now we can build. And they've never quite been able to build around him because he's not all the way in. And if Zion's not in, I mean, you have to start to question whether New Orleans has an NBA future, don't you?
Well, I think you do. And I mean, the other part of it is the other guy, Brandon Ingram, misses a lot of games. Now, I don't question the injuries. I mean, but he's not. He misses a lot of games, and he's really, he's an all-star level player as well. So those are the two guys, along with McCollum, that make the potential. I mean, that's why they could be really good. And so if they're not available, that's why they're not.
Yeah. And it's one thing if a guy's not available, but for Zion to say, I'm trying to buy in.
Yeah, those comments the other day were scary. That's like the most scary thing I think I've ever heard a superstar say before. It's just like, I mean, especially because he's the one. It's not like he's one of the pieces. He is the one. Like, if they're going to be serious, it's going to be because Zion Williamson is an MVP candidate. And when you have that label and you're out here saying, you know, like, I know a big talking point last year was, am I going to buy in? Well, I'm trying. I'm thinking I'm trying to buy in.
You're almost better off if he says I'm not.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, but I'm trying.
No.
The whole thing is in limbo, waiting on him.
Everything. Yeah. The entire team, the entire city, the entire organization is all on his shoulders. And it seems like he's kind of the only one that doesn't see that doesn't understand that it is as it goes as far as him. The bell stops at him.
And that's another thing that's so great about being a fan of this Kings team, because they're in.
Yeah.
They're all in.
They're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't give Coach Brown enough credit, or you got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's true. And it starts there as well as your stars. Not saying as long as with Fox and Sabonis, you've got two elite players at their positions that are totally buying in. And Fox, certainly people say, well, look at how, in the fourth quarter, he'll do this or that. I said, wait a minute. He basically blends in for 3 quarters. If you need him to take over a game, he can and will do that. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
He's more than, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, if he can go a quarter and shoot 2 balls, he there's not a selfish bone in his body. He's just really gifted.
Right.
And the same way with Sabonis. I mean, he's not the same level of athlete, but I mean, there's not his flaw is he's too unselfish, if anything.
Yeah. And you've said before, that's potentially a flaw with Keegan as well.
Yeah.
Too unselfish.
But it's easier to get guys to kind of be a little more selfish, or what I call a little hungrier, than it is take somebody that's a selfish prick and get them to
reel it in a little.
Reel it in, so there is that.
Yeah. Where are we with the debate about Domas and C-Webb? Who is the better player for the Kings? And I know the book's not closed on Domas yet, but I've always felt like, wow, there's only one Chris Webber, but Domas is he's so consistent, and there's just a relentlessness to his game, and extremely efficient.
Yeah. To me, I mean, he doesn't have anywhere near the talent overall of Webb, but I will say, in fairness to him, I think he plays harder, more consistently, I mean, and probably, C-Webb, as good as he could pass, really didn't consistently set good screens like and that's another part of, which those are skills. Take the punishment, give the punishment.
You're a big fan of screen assists, aren't you?
I am a big fan of screen assists.
Leads the league in them all the time.
Yeah. He sets better screens and more screens than any big in the league. And but I mean, when you really get down to talent, though, I mean, let's say in the last 6 minutes of a game, C-Webb's he can win you a game. I mean, where I don't think Domas just individually is that same level, just individual gifts.
Can I ask you a question real quick? We were talking about Domantas Sabonis, and we were actually just talking about aggressiveness and, the selfishness angle of all this, and also the best rebounders in Kings history. When we were talking about that, I instantly thought about Harrison Barnes, just somebody who I feel like my biggest gripe with Harrison has been, I just think he's so talented and he has the capability to do so much. And too many times, more often than not, he ends up not giving you a lot. It's like he can do all of these things, but instead of doing a little bit of everything, you get a whole lot of nothing. And maybe that's a little disrespectful, but where do you feel like I feel like he's one of those guys when you talk about somebody who's so unselfish, it's almost to a fault. I feel like with him, a lot of the time you look at the box score and it's just, you just want a little bit more from him. And whether it doesn't always have to be in the scoring department, but like, I feel like rebounds last night, he plays 38 minutes, finishes with 1 rebound. How does that happen? Like, first and foremost, let me ask the rebounding question. People talk about defense being an effort thing all the time. And of course, having athletic ability helps there as well. Is rebounding one of those things as well that's kind of an effort thing, or is there more that goes into it than just really wanting to go after the ball?
Well, I think, in today's game, it is to some degree an effort thing because there's not a lot of contested rebounds. So it's just a matter of tracking them.
Right.
You go back years and years, well, there's always the contested rebounds that made the difference. In today's game, there's a lot of probably 80% of the rebounds nobody is really fighting for. You just get them if you go after them.
Right.
And so to that point, I think Harrison does fall short.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought, and you guys might see it differently, but I think with Harrison, I've always thought that he's a kind of an old school type player in the sense that if I was going to second guess Coach Brown, and I know he's 10 times smarter than I'll ever be, but I would, I think he's the kind of guy you got to find stuff for him and say, Harrison, we've got this, we got to play for you.
Yeah.
We're going to look for you here. Or we need you when Domas is high on the dribble handoffs. We want you to slide underneath and post up. Just things that he knows that we're looking for you.
Right.
Specifically to these things.
That sounds like a good answer because again, a lot of the time it feels like he's again, unselfish to the point where it's, I think, to a fault where it's like, no, dude, like have some ego. Like you're a very talented guy yourself. Like put your imprint on this game. And even if you miss the shot, like I want Harrison to look at having Cam Reddish on the other side of him, defending him and say, I'm Harrison Barnes. Like I was at one point the number 2 recruit. People had high hopes for me at one point in my career. I could take this kid, even if this play isn't drawn up for me. I recognize this moment, and let me just pick and choose this spot right here, now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think he has a tendency. He's unselfish and fits into a fault. I mean, it's like be a little bit selfish. And I think the team probably should encourage that as well.
Sure.
I think last night was a good example of how Harrison Barnes, sometimes it's on how you perceive him. And I know you guys are right. It's not hard to find some things that you'd like him to do better consistently. But last night, he had 13 points last night on 10 shots, and he had 3 threes, and he had some 4 steals. And he only had 1 rebound. And I heard Willie call you guys today, and it was a great call.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Well, the Kings held their own on the glass. So in a way, if your team's rebounding well enough,
right,
and one guy doesn't have a lot, it's okay, right? Yeah. Nobody that he was guarding destroyed you. I mean, LeBron had a big rebounding night, but Harrison Barnes last night, I thought he did some really good things. It's just, you have 3 guys that score almost 30, and it's like, well, he didn't do that. No, but he had a nice game, I think.
Yeah, no, he certainly did last night. And I think the one thing that we can we all forget about a little bit is, is Keegan is getting to be a much better rebounder. And Herder.
Yes.
Is really getting rebounds.
Right. So Herder had 7.
Yeah. So in other words, if Harrison gets more, do they get less? Well, probably so. Yeah. So as long as the team's getting them, I mean, I think he should do a little better at that.
Actually, Herder had 4. Pardon me, I was looking at the wrong number.
Well, the game before, I think he did.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's also one of those things that who knows? We don't know what Mike Brown's telling him. Also, he could say, "Hey, look, we got enough guys crashing. We got the best rebounder in the NBA.
Yeah, you
get back on offense,
guard the wing, and then cut
exactly.
out." We don't. That exactly. There's a little more to the story, but I think it is fair to say he is capable of doing more. We've seen it.
I think it's the peaks and valleys that drives the frustration. It's the 33 points and then the 8 points.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'd much rather just have 12 to 16 every night.
You'll have. That's why I always said so much about the Domas. It's like, okay, well, it's 14 one night.
Yep. Yeah.
It
evens out.
But it's something you can count on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll look ahead to tomorrow's matchup against Wembanyama when we come right back. It's a Drive, guys, on Sactown Sports.
The Kings took down Oklahoma City in their first in-season tournament game ever.
Launches the 3. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Now it's on to Game 2 as the Kings visit rookie phenom Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Join us for Kings and Spurs Friday afternoon at 4:30 on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblet, as always, of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, what's happening at Hoblet this month?
The Black Friday sales event is here, so you can save up to $14,500 off MSRP when you lease a new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited 4xe. That's one of America's favorite SUVs to get your family where they need to go. And you can save thousands in gas over the life of the vehicle.
Okay, but what about that Jeep Wrangler that everybody loves?
Big savings there, too. Right now, save up to $13,000 off MSRP when you lease a new 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sport S 4xe. And yes, I did say the all-new 2024, Dave. I see the surprise on your face.
There you go. Better hurry in. Save thousands on your next Jeep. And they have 100 4xEs in stock as well. Stop by Hoblet Dodge for a test drive today or search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices. Unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
14.5 total net savings after 11.5 factory rebates and 3,000 dealer discount. 13,000 total net savings after 10,000 factory rebates and 3,000 dealer discount. Rebates include 7,500 federal tax credit rebate. Subject to change without notice. Lease option subject to credit approval. Not everyone will qualify. 5 each net savings. See dealer for details.
Individual rates, offerings, and savings may vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all states and situations.
Hey, small business owner. Are you ready to have the best year ever in 2024? When's the last time you checked your workers' comp rate? For many small businesses, workers' comp insurance is one of their biggest costs. But Pi Insurance could save you up to 30% in just 3 minutes. Go to trypi.com, share a few details about your business, and get a quote that's customized for your business. No hassles or hidden fees. We know you're busy, but spending just a few minutes to check your rate could make this your best year ever. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. See how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles, drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Knee, hip, foot, leg, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
For over a decade, SimpliSafe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Just having a conversation here about Davion Mitchell with Jerry Reynolds in for Kyle Draper today. Chris Watkins.
Hi.
Yeah, Chris was hanging some jerseys.
Yeah.
And I begged Chris, come on radio with us, please. Like, no, I got stuff to do, Whitey. Please, please, please. So anyway, he's been hanging out.
Then you said Jerry's staying, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
that's what it was.
I can find some time.
And without Chris, I was leaving.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Davion Mitchell not playing. Looks like right now the writing's kind of on the wall. Nothing against him, but maybe with the team playing well and him not playing at all, maybe he'd be better off somewhere else.
Could be. You know, we just talking off the air a little bit, but you know, I mean, that's been the history of the league, that most players, except greats, get bounced around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have to find 2 or 3 different teams, you know, to find their niche, and
he wasn't drafted by Mike Brown, so he was drafted, under different circumstances.
So that changes things. I always remember Reggie Theus was drafted by the Bulls and had a great career, and was traded to the Kings. He always made the point. He said, once you're on a team that didn't draft you, it's never the same. They don't look at you the same.
Right.
And that's very true. You know, as opposed to a team drafts you, well, they'll probably go the extra mile
because they have the equity.
Look no different.
The equity.
Look no further than Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, there you go.
He will never get the same opportunities that he
No,
tried to get hit. Ben McLemore, same thing. I heard you guys talking about Ben McLemore.
Nick Stauskas.
This goes on. Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the league's full of that. I mean, that's what
absolutely.
I say. That's what's always
look at Killian Hayes.
You're not a big Killian Hayes guy.
I am not.
Well, he's proven right on that so far. He's, slowly.
All I know is Detroit could win just as many games with Corey Joseph.
Yeah,
definitely could.
And they proved it. Usually they come in with Corey. I always remember our fans bad-mouthing Corey, and he didn't do anything wrong. He overpaid maybe, but he didn't do that.
It wasn't his fault.
And he's still playing because he's a heck of a solid little limited backup guy and knows it.
Yeah.
The Kings are playing well enough now where I think it's fair for fans and reasonable for fans to look at this and go, okay, how do we get to the next level if they keep playing like this? And so you got to be open-minded to bringing in talent at the deadline. Name that gets thrown around a lot is Zach LaVine. What do you think in general, Jer, of the idea of, hey, maybe the Kings want to upgrade Zach LaVine, bring him in?
Not a fan. He's marvelous athlete, marvelous scorer, talent-wise, but he is a kind of a one-man kind of operation. He really does.
He has never played in this type of offense ever.
No, and he is a ball stopper, in my opinion, and that's what this team isn't. They don't
I agree.
have any ball stoppers, and so I'm just. And what you'd have to give up to get him, I think you could really set yourself back.
I think in general, without naming the particular player, a 3-and-D wing who could, I'm not even necessarily saying somebody can start for Harrison Barnes, but a guy that maybe he could start, maybe comes off the bench, but a good shooter, good defender. I think that's the one guy I would want to add to this team. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think the key is frankly, I would normally say, defense is this team's biggest need for improvement, and they just need to bring in a defender. But funny enough, the past 2 years we've seen to start the season, Mo Harkless and KZ Okpala enter the starting lineup or start the season in the starting lineup. And we saw that defense isn't good. You have to be able to knock down shots if you want to play in this offense and play with this team and get significant minutes. So I would say that first and foremost, you have to be able to shoot the ball if you want to play, especially be inserted into that starting lineup. And then, it would be nice if they come with some defense, at least physical traits that lend itself to be a defender. I think we've seen, clearly with how much Mike Brown emphasizes the defensive side of the ball. If you can get, we'll just throw a guy, Kyle Kuzma, if they would have brought him in this offseason, I believe that Mike Brown could have convinced Kuzma, with his length and his height, buy in a little bit on the defensive end. And, maybe we take a little bit of your shots away. But I first and foremost want to see a shooter with a big, long profile for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if and they could really get better by getting a specific talent, that fits a specific role.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know that to be the right guy, but like a Dorian Finney-Smith, a guy
Yes. Mhm.
who's going to defend, he's going to rebound, he's a little small, but he can make threes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've loved Royce
I mean,
O'Neal for that same reason.
everything to me, as far as fitting, plugging a guy in, to maybe make you a slightly bit better, and that's really, you're not going to get Jokic in a trade, so you're going to be looking at the edges.
Yeah, and then the higher end of that type player might be, as we've discussed, like OG Anunoby, but he's going to be expensive. It would take a lot to get him. You don't know if he'll be around next year, and push comes to shove, probably not worth it.
Yeah, you don't want to rent a guy.
No.
And so that's scary. And like you say, you'd have to give up quite a bit to get him. You don't know if you can keep him. And as good as he is when he plays, he misses a lot of games.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of Trey Lyles? And I know he's not that type of player, but how much can he help? And before you answer, you should know that I think we got a big Trey Lyles fan right here.
Massive.
Big Trey Lyles fan. Yeah.
Me too.
Hey, come on.
Couple of Trey Bays over there.
I think I expect him to struggle a little bit, but I think he fills a lot of the boxes. Just what he can make shots. He's big enough. He's got a little bit of scrap in him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
probably an ordinary cuss.
He's probably got a little more of the edge to him just about anybody else.
I think so.
And then it can, when you really want to go small ball, I think which I said last year, I said he's the perfect small ball center when you're just going to go outscore people.
Agreed.
And really as a 4, I think he could really step in there if they got the minutes for him. But I think at some point you're probably going to need to find some.
Yeah, and I know you've been kind of frustrated, Chris, at the kind of updates we're getting.
If you want to even call them updates, it's more like a Facebook status report or something like that, where it's, Trey Lyles, he's conditioning. He's on his way back, and
you're impatient, aren't you?
No, I just feel like, I follow a good amount of sports, and I just feel like every time I've ever seen anyone be injured, we at least get some form of a timeline. I'm not saying it has to be an accurate timeline. I'm just saying
that's a little scary for me that we don't have timeline. Maybe
it's just not a great sign.
From especially from the same people who say a guy can only play 22 minutes. Really? How do you know that? I mean, 24 minutes, his legs fall off.
It's the minutes restrictions.
They come up minutes restrictions, but you can't tell you when a guy's healthy.
Yeah. Don't get it. I really don't understand. And maybe it's something. I feel like every time I try and logic, like, why do I care so much? Is it really that? I ultimately don't. It's definitely
really upset.
It's really a fan thing, I guess. It's because realistically, like, what benefit does it give the Kings to let everyone know, Trey Lyles is actually 2 to 3 weeks? But it just feels like one of those things that, in my opinion, happens everywhere else that I watch in sports. Well, I still get Warrior emails from their PR team. Steph Curry, they said, he's having an ankle or whatever, knee injury.
Yeah.
Questionable for Wednesday. We'll see if he can go on Friday. They'll give it a go, but reevaluation in 1 to 2 weeks. Even that's like, okay, that's fine. Thank you for information. Trey Lyles, he's been out since preseason.
Yeah.
And we've just had no idea. No status at all.
Jerry's probably had to do this, but I know you mentioned the Warriors a couple years ago with Wiseman. Before Clay came back, the Warriors said Clay should be back around Christmas, January, and they said Wiseman's back by Thanksgiving. Wiseman won back all year.
Yeah.
So then if you do that, you lay out that date, and then you go past that, then all of a sudden you got a lot of questions you got to answer. Hey, what's happened? What's wrong there?
Yeah.
So maybe they're just not sure, and they just want to take their time with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, to both your points. I mean, I think it's really incumbent on a team to try to be accurate with that.
Mm-hmm.
Give, especially role players, what's the danger here of trying to, is other teams going to change their scouting report because Trey might be back and play 4 minutes?
No, for sure.
Really.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, they could always say, hey, in a week he'll be reevaluated.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit of information.
I heard the last word, he's got a soft tissue injury. Well, what other kind are there?
Yeah. Well, and even with Alex Len, his update was it's a moderate ankle sprain, so it's not a severe or it's not a mild. And again, there'll be updates when there's, I can't remember the exact wording, but essentially it was to be determined on an update. And I was like,
Well, you know what they ought to do? I've always thought this is like, guys with ankle sprains. We don't think he'll ever be able to play again.
I think it's over for him.
And then, in 3 weeks, my God, he's miraculously out there. And the fans say, what a courageous.
Yeah. It's all about perspective, I guess. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick timeout and then wrap it up here with the Drive guys and take a closer look again at that huge win over the Lakers last night. Chris Watkins, Jerry Reynolds, and Whitey Gleason today. Drive guys on Sactown Sports.
Two rivals, one goal. It's our region's biggest college football game.
Saturday at noon, UC Davis and Sacramento State battle in the 69th annual Causeway Classic.
So much at stake as potential playoff spots are on the line as the Hornets and Aggies square off to close out the 2023 college football season. Pre-game coverage begins at 11:30 with kickoff at noon from Aggie Stadium and right here on Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we'd buy from ourselves. At Elk Grove Honda, in addition to our lower prices, we include many benefits that a private seller just can't match. Our Honda-trained technicians only certify our Hondas if they pass a thorough 182-point inspection, and our certified pre-owned Hondas are under 5 years old, so you know you're getting the newest Hondas in prime condition. See our exceptional selection of lower-priced certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Bottom of the hour, we got Thursday night football, Bengals, Ravens. Chris, I've always had a soft spot for the Bengals, but I'm not feeling real optimistic about this one today.
Really? Yeah. The Ravens are playing really good football. I'm just glad that we have a Thursday night game that's worth watching. Last week, what was it just last week where it was Bears-Panthers?
Yep.
I think so.
My goodness. Come on. There was no world in which that was going to be a good week 10 game. At least this one, I don't even know if I like it more. I don't know if I like the fact that this game is important and it's on Thursday night where it's, rushed and you don't have a full week to game plan. It's kind of like having that Chiefs-Dolphins game in Germany. It's like, why are we throwing away? I don't know. I guess beggars can't be choosers. I got to pick one.
Your Chiefs, Jerry, have a tough one this week, huh?
Yeah. But, hey. They got Patrick Mahomes, so settle down.
Is that Monday? Is that on Monday? Was it Monday?
Yes,
is that Monday
is.
Night Football?
Yeah, Monday Night Football is Eagles versus Kansas City.
That's a good one.
Premier ones, and I'll be looking forward to this one tonight because I like Joe Burrow, Lamar. Two of the elites are fun to watch, and just to kind of evaluate them to what spot they are behind Mahomes.
See exactly how far back second place
they are.
is.
Yeah, and then of course you got Mahomes behind Purdy, so it's Purdy, Mahomes.
Yeah.
Well, there might, probably Mahomes.
Well, I don't go full Nick Wright on Mahomes, but I kind of buy into Colin Coward a little bit. So,
that's what I'm here for, is to be full Nick Wright on Mahomes.
Yeah. Well, that's dangerous territory there.
That stupid commercial with Mahomes and Auto?
Oh, I love it.
At that every time.
It's so good.
Oh, that's great.
Every time.
That feels like your sense of humor, Whitey.
It's the way Kelsey, when he goes, hey, come on, Auto. And he's like,
he does bring up a good point. Like, why can't it become, Kelsey, how much you can save on home and auto? Yeah. That's to me much better than, or rolls off the tongue somehow better than my auto.
Patrick Mahomes is a pretty good actor, and he kind of plays kind of a dumb sort of but he does it. He's not like that, but he does it really well in those commercials.
Yeah, especially.
He's really, and I don't know if you saw this special on Netflix of the quarterback.
Of course.
Chris was
so
good.
Terrific.
So
good. His wife and everything,
Yeah.
I mean, a real leader. I
Mhm.
mean, to me, you can see why you'd want to
He's
play
that guy.
for this quarterback.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then as far as Burrows goes, not to get back to the same injury, but I mean, there's some similarity there, right, between Burrow's injury and what we think Trey Lyles is dealing with.
Right. Yeah. Calf. And yeah, they were pretty unsure about how that was going to go for him. And maybe the Kings are watching the Joe Burrow situation and saying, that guy struggled for a month. So maybe we let our guy actually get healthy. And then you see what Joe Burrow has been able to do these past couple weeks.
But he is playing, right?
He is playing. He is
Okay.
playing. Yes. Yes. Yeah. He was, we got that update. Yeah. We definitely got that up.
How about this? The Kings with a big win last night, even though Malik Monk was 1 for 8. That's, 1 for 5 beyond the arc. That's not a bad thing, right? You got somebody picking up the slack there.
Well, that's the thing. They've got legitimate depth. I mean, we're sitting there spending time why Davion can't play, but he's an NBA player. But there's, that's a great place to be when you got an NBA player that can't get on the court.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I talk about it all the time. Like last year, the Kings had 7 guys, I think, finish a game with 30 points at the end of it. And there's just not many teams that have the amount of firepower to have a guy like Malik Monk, someone who you would think the Kings need to have a good game. He can have a quiet night, and they have more than enough. It was Herter last night, but there's not any reason it couldn't have been Keegan Murray or, who knows, maybe one day Sasha Vezenkov is going to have a big game, or Harrison Barnes can step into that role. And that's kind of what makes this Kings team a little bit different than most of the teams in the NBA is just, you never know who that third guy is going to be, and it can realistically be anyone. And so you truly, as a defense going against them, you have to pay attention to all 5 guys.
I thought last year, even in the playoffs, Mike Brown wasn't entirely sure. He didn't have total faith in some of the guys on the bench.
Yeah.
And so he'd try different guys. And I know it's early now. It's too early to say for sure. But I feel like, Jared, Chris, that he's developing more of a sense of what he actually has and more faith in the guys he's got coming off the bench.
I believe that's so. And like I say, I think it's credit to Monty McNair and Coach Brown. I mean, I think they've gotten more overall legitimate players they can put on the floor, which means some guys who are ready to play aren't going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's still good because injuries happen. It's like a backup center. I think you got 2 guys that are more than serviceable. JaVale McGee and Alex Lynn. Now Lynn's hurt, but I mean, they're both, you're not worried about 10 minutes that they're going to really, really hurt you.
Right.
I mean, as opposed, I thought last year, Metu, as talented as he may have been, just wasn't really a center.
Yeah. No, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
So,
well, last, after they beat OKC, after the game, Mike Brown talked to the media, and I asked him about the lessons that they'd learned in Houston, how those lessons had been applied in the 2 games they came home and won. And he talked about, looking guys right in the eye and explaining why they weren't going to play, or this is what we need. And he said, JaVale McGee did not play badly in Houston. He said, but I had to tell him. He said, I liked the way the team played with Alex Lynn, and I had to tell JaVale, you're not playing for a while. But, and he understood it and had to accept it. But it wasn't because he didn't play well. It's because they played well with Alex Lynn. Because, again, they have depth there. Yeah. So sometimes guys are playing even if they're not playing badly. They're not going to play.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit like a beauty contest. I mean, they're all pretty.
Yeah.
But you only get to pick one.
Yeah. First time I've heard this team compared to
so good.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I'm curious. You mentioned, Monty and Mike Brown and them working together. As someone who's worked in both roles, where is there a bigger misunderstanding? Is there what the GM doesn't understand what the coach has to go through and need, or coach not understanding how much a GM or how difficult a GM
you've
job
been
might
both,
be?
right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's why he's the perfect person to ask.
Well, I do think, as a coach, you're worried about today and maybe the end of the week.
Right.
That's how far you're looking ahead, because your job is always subject to change within a few games. The GM is making decisions based on what's best for the franchise long term. I mean, generally speaking, you're saying, a coach might come and say, well, this guy, you got to trade him, because, I need somebody else. Well, but as a GM, you're saying, yeah, but that guy's going to be good You know, may not. You want to say maybe not for you, but for the next guy.
Yeah. How does that dance work? Like, do you kind of almost have to have, like, you know, Monty relies heavily on Wes Wilcox. Do you almost have to have like a mediator to kind of understand, because both people are living in such different timelines? Like,
does it depend on who has the most power?
Yes.
Who the organization has the
to
most
some
faith in?
degree. I mean, I think the GM has to have final say if it really gets to that. I always say, though, as a GM, you should never trade for somebody your coach doesn't want, and you should never trade somebody off his roster that he doesn't want to lose. You know, I mean, that should start, you know, you got to have that. I always said, I mean, to me, it seems like Monty and Coach Brown are just like Rick Adelman and
they're in
Jeff
lockstep.
Petrie were.
Yeah.
They're in lockstep. So, and that's what you're looking for.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's what every franchise is looking for, and it's hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you certainly had that with Golden State, with Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. I mean, I think you had that, and maybe you run its course.
Yeah. No, I think you see the opposite right now in LA with the Clippers. I think like bringing in James Harden, I don't think that's a GM move. I don't think that's a Ty Lue move. To me, that's probably a owner stepping in and saying, hey, you know, we have a new stadium opening next year. It'd be nice.
And often that's the other part is occasionally, and maybe more than occasionally, owner will get involved occasionally, and that breaks up.
No, that's always bad, right? Whenever an owner gets involved, there's no way that's going to go.
Yeah, the only owner I really think, you know, could get involved is Cuban. Right. I really think the guy really studies the game, follows the game. You know, I think he is the exception.
Chris Watkins, thank you for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Jerry Reynolds, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Kyle is back tomorrow for more Drive Guys, and we take you now to Thursday Night Football, Cincinnati Bengals.
Say we one-hitter quitters. Now what y'all gonna do?
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires. He's still hot. Kevin Herter from downtown has a 50